Love that attitude. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Great to have your company as we say hello to Candice Warner and Robert Craddock. Hello. Lovely to see both of you here, as it is over this side of the desk with Dave Thornton and Robbie Slater. Gentlemen.
Good evening.
Love to see you. So much to get our teeth into, so let's get straight to the news of the day. Socceroo's coach Graham Arnold has just announced his squad for the World Cup in Qatar. Robbie Slater, dreams crushed, dreams made. Where do we begin? I think we begin with your social media account. You've been bagged, haven't you? It's your fault.
Yes, the latest one I just read was don't upset Robbie's love child, Arnie's love child, Robbie's. I don't know where that comes in. We're talking of getting our teeth in. I haven't got many left after today. Yeah, look, it's always fun. They call it soccer Twitter on Twitter. And, you know, there's always the ones that miss out, that controversy.
Well,
cause controversy.
The squad right there. So just to go through some of the, I guess, the big calls.
Tommy Rogic.
Yep.
Trent Sainsbury.
Yep.
Adam Taggart, to a less extent, who's lacked a bit of consistency. A few injuries certainly went against him. And, of course, the big in is Grant Quoll and Jason Cummings. Amazing stories, both of them. But also, we have had a troubled time since the playoffs in respect to injuries, players not playing at their club. And to get to probably the biggest one, the most controversial one of the day is Mitch Langerack. Yep. Who retired, came back for Arnie brought him back in for the New Zealand games, and he hasn't made the squad. Now, this is a player that, on form and consistency, MVP for his club, Nagoya Grampus, in the J League, and 33 games, 14 clean sheets. So had a standout season for them. But I think it's quite a simple story as to why he's not there.
Robbie, you talk about the injuries, and we've seen recently Rolls and Suter just coming back from injury. Rolls played such a pivotal role in the playoffs for the Socceroos to help them qualify. Will those two start against France?
That is a big shout, because Harry Suter's been out for a year with an ACL injury. He's come back and played a couple of under-23s games, under-23 games, under-21s game as well for Stoke. So that's his match fitness at the moment, thinking that they've still got a little bit of time before that opening game against France. And Kyle Rolls broke his foot in August, 2 months out, came on as a 90th minute substitute on the weekend for his club in Scotland, and he makes the squad. But he's our only left-sided central defender. That is the preferred central defending option for Graham Arnold. He might just play them.
But Rob, how would things be at home after he made the quantum decision to omit his son-in-law?
Trent Sainsbury, gone.
Well, yeah, and Trent hasn't been in the greatest form, and he's the first to admit that. He didn't play particularly well against New Zealand, and his club, he plays in Qatar.
So he plays in Qatar?
He plays in Qatar.
He's like, I could get a cab there, mate.
He wouldn't have even had to pay for his airfare, so I'm not sure if James Johnson's very happy, could have saved on that one. Yeah. But their competition stopped a few weeks ago in preparation for the World Cup, so he hasn't been playing. He's been training in Melbourne, I think, with Melbourne City. But it's a big shout.
How do you tell your son-in-law? Did you just tell your daughter to tell him? Or
I think that would have been the best, smartest option.
You put it in the family WhatsApp.
But it's also a player that's been there for so long. He's captained them,
absolutely. Before we dig any further, we should get Graham Arnold's take, because he's already in Qatar, sort of acclimatising to the conditions, as we know. Here's what he had to say about the omissions of Trent Sainsbury, Tom Rogic, of course, we haven't mentioned just yet, and keeper Mitch Langerack.
Trent, I spoke to Trent obviously about where he's at this moment in time. He hasn't played for a number of weeks. I've gone for, players like a Harry Suter, Kai Rolls, who've done exceptionally well. Tommy's been, absolutely brilliant for Australian football, and he will continue to be so. But you need players that are fit and ready, and I just felt that at this moment in time, it was a decision to make for on the playing side of it. I'm not an expert in goalkeeping, we've got a great goalkeeper coach in John Crawley, who has a process and studies these goalkeepers, and I've got to trust that process with John Crawley.
It was a bit of a hand pass onto John Crawley.
Brilliant hand pass, technical difficulty as well, and mate, he's not acclimatising. He just got out of Australia before he picked the squad. Very smart move. Yeah, Mitch Langerack, look, for me it's quite simple. Mitch retired. He wanted to come back in, come out of retirement. brought him in against New Zealand, and I think to see how that was taken by Matty Ryan in the goalkeeping group, and I don't think that mustn't have passed very well. And what I mean by that, does Mitch Langerak cast a big shadow over Matt Ryan, who's the number one and will start in Qatar? And does that upset his preparation? I think that's quite simple what the...
But hasn't Matt Ryan got a little bit of injury cloud? He's got some knee issues right at the moment, doesn't he? He hasn't been playing a lot of club footy.
No, he's the number two. Look, he was, moved from Spain to go to Copenhagen to be the number one keeper. And very, very quickly, the former number one keeper who was injured came back from injury and he went back in. And Matt Ryan, I think, played last week in a cup game. But look, he's been the number one. He's had a difficult couple of years in respect to being, a starter at the clubs he's been at. But he's never let Australia down. He is the captain, and I think that's gone in his favour.
Robbie, there's 17 World Cup debutants. How do you think this is going to affect the team, or how will they handle being on the big stage, and especially being against France for their first game?
Well, I think we got a bit of a taste, and some of those players got a bit of a taste. Some of them weren't there, of course, like Cummings and Qual.
Are you surprised by
those two big playoffs is almost like World Cup games. High pressure, qualifying for the World Cup. But look, stepping out against France on the 22nd or 23rd of November, that's going to be a massive step for a lot of those players.
Looking for a lot of energy, obviously, isn't it? Because it's a short lead up into the event, then a short turnarounds between games here, much shorter than usual World Cup. So it's got a lot of young blokes who will be just, biting the cuffs.
Yes, to get on. And Qual's the interesting selection. Never started the game.
Yeah.
But every time he's come off the bench, he's had a massive impact. He's signed for Newcastle United, who are doing that in the Premier League. They're sitting third on the table at the moment. They're the richest club in the world. And, wow, what a few months for this kid.
All right. No, I'm not making you put it on the line or anything, Robbie, here, but is this the squad that gets us out of the group of death?
The group of death? Well, we've gone to 6 World Cups, counting 74 a long, long time ago. This is our 5th consecutive. We've won 2 games in 6 World Cups. That's the reality.
Yep.
We got out of the group once with our greatest ever team in 2006. It's going to be difficult. It's not undoable. If you look at 6 and 2010, 4 points. We had in both those World Cups. In South Africa, we were beaten 4-0 in the opening game. Goal difference meant we didn't progress to the group stage. So we need to not lose heavily one game and grab 4 points. I think we can beat Tunisia. They'll think they can beat us, of course. And then we got to get a point against France or Denmark. The last 3 world champions, last 3 World Cups, the champions haven't got out of their group, which is a little stat. Germany were the last ones in Russia.
All right, Robbie. Well, good luck with your social media account.
Well, I think we should wait and delay this conversation, bring out, because I think Eleanor, our guest tonight, will probably have better predictions on the World Cup than me.
Robbie, since we're talking football, mate, I always wondered in your career, have you ever kicked a goal like this? Now, if you look at this guy, I believe this is Community Cup out in Belgium.
Oh, my goodness.
Swings it around and bang!
That's extraordinary. And I can't see the tree. Well, I can see the trees, but I did live in Belgium for a year, and it does get very windy. So I wonder if that was wind assisted. But even with the wind, that is extraordinary.
So
and the answer to your question is no. I scored a goal off my arse though for the Socceroos, Tony.
You scored what?
I scored 1 goal for the Socceroos off my
Off your arse. I know we've shown that on that show. This show
Have you
several
shown
times.
it?
Yeah.
When I'm not here, that'd be right.